we're often interested in finding out the probabilities of one of multiple events. But what are multiple events? अभी तक हम probability में simple events की बात करते हैं जैसे rolling a dice or tossing a coin. But now think of playing a card game where we'll win if the next card that comes is a king or a heart. Think about rolling 2 dice at once. So answering such probability questions can seem a little tricky, but it all really boils down to 2 things. Number 1, figuring out if you multiply or add probabilities, and number 2, figuring out if you have dependent or independent events. So before deciding about addition rule or multiplication rule, let's talk about the 2 categories of events. Independent, that have no effect on each other, or dependent, one has an effect on the other. So to understand independent events better, assume करें कि हमारे पास 3 pink balls और 3 yellow balls हैं. अब हमें 2 balls pick करनी है इन 6 balls में से, one after the other. So there will be 2 cases here. First case में आपने पहली ball निकाल ली और फिर वापस रख दी, फिर दूसरी ball उठाई. Let's talk about this case first. Say we want to find the probability of getting a pink ball out in your first chance. Let's call it P of event 1. There are 3 pink balls and 6 balls in all. So the probability of getting a pink ball is 3 by 6. The numerator tells us that we can pick a pink ball in 3 ways, and the denominator tells us the total number of balls. So you picked one pink ball up and placed it back in. Now what is the probability of picking a pink ball in your second chance? We call it P of R2. Since we place the ball back in, there are 3 pink balls and 6 balls in total. So the probability still remains 3 by 6. It's unchanged. So these 2 events are called independent events. The probability does not change if the ball is replaced. It's because we have the same set of balls we had originally. चलिए अब second case देखते हैं. You pick one ball out and then pick the second one without replacing the first one. Now it gets even more interesting. यहाँ हमने एक बॉल निकाली, उसे वापस नहीं रखा और दूसरी बॉल पिक कर ली. Now let's find the probability of picking a pink ball at your first chance. It will be 3 by 6. आप 3 ways में pink balls pick कर सकते हैं. So assume the pink ball is taken out. याद रखें कि इस बार बॉल वापस नहीं डाली गई है. It remains outside, okay? Now what is the probability of picking a pink ball again? There are 2 pink balls and 5 pink balls in total. So the probability is 2 by 5. Did you observe what happened? We can see that the probability has changed if the ball is not kept back. इस केस में events एक दूसरे पर dependent हैं. Now let's forget about the color of the balls. बस इतना याद रखें that if a ball is put back in, तो ये 2 events होंगे independent because the sample space does not change for the second case. और यही अगर हमने ball वापस नहीं डाली, so the sample space changes for the second event, which is why they are dependent events. Alright? So the probability of the second event actually depends on the ball that you have picked first. Now let's talk about mutually exclusive events. Consider one throw of a fair dice. These are the possible outcomes that we can get, right? And we'll get one of these 6 possible outcomes. And now let's consider 2 events, A and B. Event A being that we have to get an even number, and event B being we have to get an odd number. हम सिर्फ एक ही थ्रो अभी कंसिडर कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So let's say for example हमने रोल की डाइस और हमारे पास आया 2. That is an even number, not an odd number, right? अब सेकेंड थ्रो पे हमारे पास क्या आया? 5. That's a odd number, not an even number. So हमें क्या पता चल रहा है कि जब हम odd number थ्रो करेंगे तो हमारे पास even number नहीं आ सकता, और जब हम even number थ्रो करेंगे हमारे पास odd number नहीं आ सकता. Therefore, what can we say? These 2 events are mutually exclusive events. So ये दोनों events साथ नहीं हो सकते, which means they are mutually exclusive events. Now let's look at another case. Let's say we have 2 events again. Event A being that we have to get an even number, and event B being we have to get a prime number. Are these 2 events mutually exclusive? Let's see. So what if we get a 2 at a throw of a dice? That's an even number as well as a prime number. So these 2 events can happen together. Therefore, they are not mutually exclusive events. So बहुत लोग confuse होते हैं between independent and mutually exclusive events में. अगर आप उनमें से एक हैं, just remember these 2 simple things. 2 events are independent if they are not related. That is, the outcome of one does not affect the other. वो बिल्कुल unrelated होंगे. Two events तब mutually exclusive हैं if they cannot occur together. If one event occurs, the other just cannot occur. So yes, an event cannot be independent and mutually exclusive at the same time. क्योंकि अगर वो independent हैं, they may not occur together. और अगर वो mutually exclusive हैं, so one event will be dependent on the other. That is, if one occurs, the other one will not occur.